Welcome back to Beyond the Signs podcast.
How's everyone doing? It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, but we're back. And what's the topic that we have for today?
Today's topic would be preference between networking in groups or networking one-on-one.
Right. Honestly, my take on this is that I actually do like the group networking a lot better. Yeah.
Why?
For so many reasons. One, I've watched way too many Forensic Files to see what happens on one-on-one stuff.
Oh, well, yes. The safety factor.
The safety factor. So that's like one of the reasons why I'd prefer like a group meetup. And also too, you get a chance to really discover like what it is like everyone does. And then you can like go into like a one-on-one after you vibed with someone in person rather than like vibing on someone with like for example, like if it's your first time meeting them, you're not like, you don't want to.
First time meeting for real, definitely I agree with you. Because you don't want to meet somebody for the first time alone, especially as a woman. Like, you don't just want to show up somewhere. Like, that's not, I don't think that's like what we're saying when we say one-on-one. When I say one-on-one, I just mean like, I guess maybe if you're at an event and you end up clicking with one person. So instead of like networking in a group of people, you know, when you meet at like a group of friends and like they might already be friends, or you just meet a group of people in general at an event, it might be a little overwhelming. So if you're at that event and you just make a connection with one person, I think that's more along the lines of what I was thinking of. Topic.
So I guess
because I get what you're saying when you say, you know, I don't want to meet up with somebody alone for the first time, like,
right. And that's the thing that I was thinking about when we were discussing about what this topic should be.
Right.
One-on-one, to me, it's I meet someone or whoever it is out on at a coffee shop or at an event that we're gonna do together, right? Before we get there, we meet somewhere and discuss about either the project or even working with them. Like if we rent a studio, it's just me and that person. If it's like meeting someone for the first time and networking that way, I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because here's the thing. I like to surround myself with people who I think could benefit me or I could benefit them. So it's like a mutual agreement. I never like to want to take advantage of someone or someone take advantage of me. And I feel like the group, you get to weave out who is that person that you're going to be able to vibe with and be able to work with, and they'll benefit you and you benefit them, rather than like seeing that one-on-one and then you find out that you guys had nothing in common, but like you guys just had a job together to do. And it's just because there was one. Okay, so I guess I'll share like a story. There was one guy, right, who wanted to do weddings with me, right? Because he needed a videographer, and I was okay with it, right? But I met him in a group, right? And he's like, "Yo, I need a videographer," and so I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it together," right? I met with him afterwards at a Starbucks, and I kid you not, it's as if like he was the one who grabbed the client, he was the one who like talked to everything, right? And then I was like, "All right, like let's meet up the client together so we can discuss everything," right? I met with the client and we waited 30 minutes and the guy never showed up, right? And then me and the client just decided to talk. I was like, what do you exactly need from me, right? Like, "Oh, we just need to know that you're going to grab the pictures." I'm like, "I'm not grabbing the pictures, I'm grabbing the video." It's like, "Oh, we don't really need a videographer." I'm like, "What the hell did you have me for?"
Why am I here? Yeah.
Yeah. So I realized that working with him was going to be a little bit difficult because of the communication barrier that we had, right?
Totally.
And if I knew that before, actually meeting with him,
agreeing to do a gig with him.
Exactly. We met as a group and it was like a quick group, and then we left, and then we met one-on-one, and I kind of got a weird vibe from the one-on-one, but I was like, whatever. So that's why for me, if I really click with you in a group, then I know I can click with you one-on-one.
Yeah.
If I don't, then there's really no point for me to meet up with someone. or like do a job with someone, because like you realize quickly it's like, what's the point of like working if you're not even like passionate about it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's a testament to that side of it that we met in a group of like-minded creative individuals who were all like, I literally met you at a meetup.
Yeah, no,
with
actually,
like
if you really
20 plus models, photographers, videographers.
And if you really think about it, we never actually had like a one-on-one meeting until like a couple of like times that we hung out with like a full group to actually like do.
And you know what's
together.
funny though, but the day that we met at the meetup, we did at one point kind of go off and shoot on our own. Remember we went to that playground?
Yeah, no, I remember the playground, but it wasn't like a one-on-one because we still had photographers there.
Right.
So
but it was like, it was kind of further away from like where everybody else was at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it was like 5 or 10 minutes and then we gravitated back towards everybody else. But you're still in a group.
Exactly.
And I actually do agree with that. That's why I'm saying, like, I think it shows how well that could work out in a group, because that's how we met, literally. So I definitely agree with that statement, because you're right. You definitely don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable position by making yourself vulnerable, agreeing to meet up with somebody alone, for sure.
Right.
And when you're in a group, I definitely agree that it takes kind of the pressure off of you to be on versus like off and like chill. I feel like when you're one-on-one, there's more pressure to just be like, like the whole time and be like energetic and kind of like not playing a character, but just on, like socially. Like you're just, putting your all
honestly,
into it.
Now that we're talking about it, I'm actually curious to see the statistics of like people who first like meeting up in a group versus meeting up on one-on-one, and how well they vibed with certain individuals in that group, like when they first meet one-on-one or afterwards. Like it'd be really interesting to see, and I think like I'd want to ask people to kind of like get that statistics so we can actually see like,
yeah, I'd want to get other people's opinions on this, like our friends even, and like people that we know.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny too, like when it comes to like the group dynamic, is like it's like you can chill with one person in a certain group, but as soon as you chill with them like one-on-one, you realize like, oh shoot, like we had nothing in common. It's just because of that group dynamic that we had. So it really comes down to another question. Is it really like okay to meet one-on-one to see if like you'll work out with a person, or is it better to do a group on group first? Which I prefer the group on group. Yeah,
I agree.
Because
I agree. I think I started out I think my previous opinion, I think it's shifted since we first came up with this topic and first started talking about this subject, because now that I look back on so many friends that I've made creatively and through creative, environments, all the close friends that I've come out of those environments with happened, I believe, because we met in a group.
Right. I think people want to hear the juicy story of like if you met anyone one-on-one and how that experience was.
I mean, definitely. Yeah, no, I've definitely had some weird, and it's mostly, it hasn't even been like networking stuff. It's mostly just been somebody hitting me up wanting to do a shoot, which at that point it's not really networking, it's just working.
It's a type of networking.
It is. But yeah, no, I've had plenty of encounters where I meet them for the first time and it is so awkward. And on top of that, maybe they don't really know how to be comfortable in front of a camera at the same time. So then you're trying to make them comfortable while you're uncomfortable. It's very hard to make somebody that's in front of your camera comfortable when you're not even comfortable. So I think that's the number one rule. Like if you're not comfortable and you're meeting somebody to take photos of that person, how can you make them feel comfortable if you don't even feel 100%? And if you aren't really, like, I've made it work plenty of times, but is that the ideal situation and is that my preference? I've realized throughout time, no, it's not.
It's honestly, like, now that I think about it, the times I've hit up like people to work with one-on-one, and like I say like my preference is group, but I've obviously done my fair share of like one-on-one.
Definitely.
And like sometimes it could be great, but like I'll never forget like the other time where like I met one model in person for the first time, and like I kid you not, her like mind was not in this world.
You told me about this. I remember.
Like to the point where like I literally was going to call 911 because I was really concerned.
This was a detailed story. Yes, I remember this.
For like, and the funny thing is, it's like I was with a group, right? But the thing was, I was the one who hit up this person, saw that we wanted to collab, asked.
That responsibility kind of fell on you to be the most.
Because the thing is, like, everyone branched out on their own. It was just me and this person, right?
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, like, random stuff happened, like, as in, like, oh, do you see that? That's a dog right there. I'm like, that's a squirrel. And then, like, I'm like, okay, that's
a whole nother level.
This is, like, creepy. And then I found out, like, afterwards, like, once we left, we all like researched this person, and we found out like they had some creepy like videos up online and stuff like that.
Oh my
and just for the safety of that person or whatever it was, to just keep them hidden. Yeah. Because that was just some weird stuff that we were encountering.
Extra. I think you've experienced the most extreme consequences of, it wasn't even consequences of one-on-one, because like you said, you were in a group.
It was in a group, but it was more or less like out of nowhere, it became a one-on-one where we like ventured off on our own distance just so that we can like work. Then again, it was like one of those weird encounters where it's like, I never want that to happen again.
Of course not. Yeah.
Groups for the win.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because so not only the group that we met in, but other groups that I've been in or involved in or met people through, I very, very quickly, I found every single time, realized who I vibed with and who I connected with and who I felt comfortable around. And slowly but surely just started like becoming friends with like one or two or three people from each creative group. And I think at one point, I mean, you were there in 2020, I hosted a little backyard get together, and it was like people from all the different groups coming together for the first time, and we had a lovely experience. I actually
still remember that.
A wonderful night.
I don't know who marinated steak that night, but it was so good.
I don't remember either. We went to the beach, we shot on the beach and took pictures and had a grand old time, came back, had a bonfire. Like, the creative energy was really genuine, and it wasn't forced and it wasn't pushed, and we shot a little bit, but we also hung out as friends.
And actually that could be another topic too, is like, when can like creative projects be, if it's genuine, is it better than ones that are planned and like not necessarily not genuine, but it's more or less like when it's planned and methodically, or is it one that's a spontaneous project, could be like one that's a
great topic.
Yeah, that's
a great topic, and I have so much to say about it. So let's let's keep that for a different episode. But no, yeah, I mean, since the start of this conversation, I think I was already shifting in my opinion on this, but now for sure, as we've talked about it, I've realized and reflected on how much I've actually done that exact thing and met so many people through groups that I've become close friends with, versus one-on-one. And I feel like every time that I recall a situation where I met somebody one-on-one, I just feel the uncomfortability that I felt in that moment whenever I think about it. So I think that says enough.
Absolutely. Because like I'm a pretty awkward guy when you first get to meet
Same.
me. Like, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and like I can seem social from the outside, but from the inside I'm like, okay, when is this going to be over? Right. When is this going to be over? I just need to go.
I think most of us are thinking that when we are just, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you have to be on and social and, present and responding with enough interest in what the other person's saying, and even if though you might not really get what they're saying or you might not be interested in it, like being on like that and having to be social like that is exhausting.
Right.
Especially when you're like an awkward person, or we've talked about this before. I know that this doesn't apply to you, but like when you have social anxiety or something like that makes you even more in your head about how you're acting and how other people are looking at you and how, like, you know.
I just want to make it clear too, so that like no one goes back and says like, hey, he's contradicting himself. Being awkward and being like free of like social anxiety are two different things. I can be I just don't have the right social cues at like certain moments.
It doesn't mean that it makes you anxious, though.
Exactly.
It doesn't make
I don't
you
feel
anxious.
anxious.
That's
it's just
so
more like,
interesting. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm awkward, but like I'm just gonna go with it because this is who I am.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So, but I guess like that's. I don't really have much to talk about.
I wish I could have played more a little bit of devil's advocate for the other side, but honestly, talking it through, I really agree that the most effective and efficient and safe way to meet other creatives and network with people and learn about different creatives is through like events and group meetups and group shoots. I mean, I think the energy is just unbeatable.
Right. And I think it's clear to understand that like whatever people decide to do is their own like opinion. It's not, I'm not saying it's not right or not wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just how everyone works and what they feel comfortable with. For me, I've watched way too many forensic file cases to say screw being one-on-one for the first time. Group meetups all the way for the first time, and then one-on-one.
For the first time, yeah, no. And I don't think I ever meant like for the first time one-on-one, but regardless, yeah, that's a no.
Absolutely.
You always want to make sure that you're safe and comfortable in the environment that you're putting yourself in.
Absolutely.
So
with that being said, I think that's the end of this episode topic. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on all our social media links, right? Also as well, please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when we do post. And I guess that's about it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, let's close it out. So we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bada bing.